So today's podcast is brought to you by the two arm bars Chihuahua got on Jaime. That's what you told me to say, right?
Nah, you're tripping, bro. You just wanna create beef,
you're
like always.
the one. You're the one talking. So we for longtime listeners of the show that don't go to our gym, you've probably heard us mention Chihuahua, and you might have wondered, well, who is this gentleman called Chihuahua? Well, we're actually talking to him right now. David Vanegas. Is it Vanegas? Is that the right
Yeah,
way to
yeah,
say your last
yeah,
name?
yeah.
Vanegas?
Yeah, in
Uh,
American, yeah.
okay. And right now he's in Barcelona. He's joining us remotely. It's also brought to you by Rockstar. Shout out to Rockstar. And Chihuahua, thanks for joining us, man. How are
Wait,
you?
wait, right here.
There it is.
Rockstar.
There it is. €1. So how are
Yeah,
you, dude?
exactly, €1. Huh?
How are you?
Good, good, bro. It's been a crazy, hectic year. Having to relocate. Not training BJJ for so long was like a bitch. But I managed to get myself into the fitness rhythm, and you know, I moved in between. Around June. I think it was like beginning of June. I moved from one building, like a huge luxury building, to another one that wasn't that big. But then in the big one, the gym was closed, like absolutely closed. Everything was closed. And then in the other one, it was a way smaller gym, but it was open. So that kind of like opened the channels towards like I was just making exercise and doing something. Because during the actual curfew like time and all that stuff, I was just doing like 1,000 sit-ups, 1,000 push-ups, like abs like crazy. Like, but I was just like, getting to this point where like, what the fuck do I do now? Like, how do I make this harder? And I wasn't gonna like damage my honor and just do some like Mulan shit with like a stick and two water jugs. Like, nah. And then I wasn't gonna do that shit. Even Coach Paul said it, like, nah, don't do that fucking bullshit. I was like, yeah, bro. Coach Paul knows better. I was
So,
like, I'm not doing that.
how many months were you in New York City and you were unable to train?
Well, I was unable to. I was on New York City exactly 1 year, and I wasn't able to train from I don't know when they closed everything, like March 20 something, until I
Mhm.
got here, October 2nd.
So you were unable to train like Marcelo's. You were training at
April,
Marcelo's.
April. It,
Yeah.
tra- it closed the first week of April, and then
And
April, May, June, July, August, September, and then October 2nd I started back here. So 6 months.
and when you left New York, were the jiu-jitsu gyms still closed like Marcelo's?
It's still closed. Like right
Oh
now,
my
it's still
god.
closed.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think Marcelo is just gonna. I don't know how they're gonna survive because he just made a big investment. Like for those that know Marcelo from like long time, they know
Mhm.
that the gym was used to have like the smallest locker room in the world. Like he had one toilet, four showers, and like 50 people at a time. Like it was crazy. And then they bought two more spaces within the same floor, so they have like now they have like a mat that goes around like a block, like a U form, and then they have
Yeah.
a new big, way bigger locker room, and I was able to just have that for like a month, and I was like, oh damn, that was such a shame because now it was really good. Like classes weren't as cramped up as they used to be, especially the ones at night. The ones that Marcelo or Mateo Diniz teaches, they're super full. And like with the older mat, it was just like a long space, but they didn't have that, going around. But it was cool. It was cool. It was good to go back and see the legend. I managed to take a picture with him the first day. Like I get to the gym and I'm like, because at that point I didn't know if I wanted to stay Marcelo for long, or I had the idea that I wanted to go to Marcelo for 1 month and then maybe try Unity for another month and then see
Mhm.
what's up. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna lay low in Marcelo. I'm not gonna make any friends. I'm not gonna talk to anybody. That way when I leave, nobody can say shit, right?
Mhm.
And then first class, I get there and I have somebody like in my signature look show where I just go under them. And the guy didn't tap and he started having a seizure in the middle of the class and I was like literally in the center of the mat. And I was like, fuck, you know. And then at the end, I was like, no, Marcelo, like honestly, I didn't mean any of that. Like he was like, no, it's okay, it's okay. But I was like, oh my god, I just fucking killed somebody. Like he was like, ugh.
Oh, gee. So when was the so you had posted both photos, like the photo with Marcelo that day and the photo with Marcelo from before. How many years apart were those two photos taken?
5 years apart.
5 years.
Yeah.
Damn, bro. That's crazy. So, w what is like, how long you've been training jujitsu now? Because 'Cause you're like like, at least 10 years, right?
No, no, no. Like 6 years. It,
6 years?
it it would be 6 years, but I had a 2 year break in between those 6 years because one year I was completely fucking useless. Like I was in crutches like 8 months, and then after I was in crutches, I had first I was in crutches with a full knee cast, which is like a cast that goes from your ankle all the way to
To
the
your hip.
lower part, yeah,
Yeah.
all the way to your hip. So it was fucking annoying. And then because the doctor was like, yeah, you can't really move, and like if we leave you that not the cast but the other one that you can put on and off. I don't know how that's called. Um,
The brace, like a knee brace
yeah,
or
yeah. If we leave you a brace, you can't move. Like you have to be very steady. Otherwise, you're gonna get a cast. And I was like, do you move around a lot? And I was like, just put the cast on. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. Because I didn't want to, risk, And in that time of my life, I was like 18 or something. I was just like doing a bunch of stuff, like going out and um and I wasn't really doing anything. I was just prepping my SAT, so I was just going out and about. And I was like, nah, just put the cast on. I don't want to risk anything. And then after the cast, I had the brace. I was still in crutches. Recovery took a long time because I was such a stubborn person. I didn't even finish the sessions that I was supposed to do of rehab. I didn't finish them, so I was like with this lingering fucking chronic pain, especially when it was cold. And I was like, and then after that was like after the first year, and then the second year that I was injured, I was just not doing much, going out partying, blah blah blah. And then I decided to go back to rehab, and that's when I got better, and that's when I got back to jiu-jitsu. Like I went back to rehab, and then I literally went back to jiu-jitsu like three or
What
four
was
months
the
after that.
cause of the original injury that hurt your leg?
It was a soccer match, and it was right before the IBJJF New York Summer Open, 2014 or 15, 2014, I think. So I was like literally getting ready for that tournament. I was like, yo, I'm a go there. I'm mentally ready. And 1 week before, exactly like it happened with Jeremiah, 1 week before the tournament, I'm doing something I'm not supposed to be doing. Like you're not supposed to be rolling with a 280-pound guy that can just like obliterate you with one move of his thigh. And that's what happened. So I was just playing soccer. It was the World Cup actually. It was the 2014 World Cup. So we had done this like little World Cup in our school. So like all the Colombians, all the English, like all the Argentinians. It was Colombia and Argentina, and my best friend was Argentinian, and he just fucking Caesar fucking Kani Basami the shit out of my knee. Like he did like this Caesar fucking like this Caesar kick, and he just fucked up my knee. MCL. I had to get picked up by the ambulance because the school was in a mountain, and the soccer field was carved down the mountain, so you have to go down some stairs. And to take somebody out of there that was injured, you had to get him in a stretcher. So they had to call the ambulance, and it was just a big mess. And then
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
So okay, so let's go back to the beginning then, because I never quite when we were trained together at ATT, I never quite got your origin story. I always got bits and pieces of it. So where did you start training, and how old were you when you started training jujitsu? And also, what got you to try jujitsu in the first place?
Okay, so I remember I was like about 13 or 14. I was in exchange program in Victoria, Canada. And at that time they will have the Ultimate Fighter on Fuel. Fuel was the name of the channel
Mhm.
that had the Ultimate Fighter. And I was like, oh, this is fucking pretty cool. So as soon as I finished my exchange program, I was like, fuck, I'm gonna look I'm gonna try and find somewhere where I can train. That was when I was about 14, but I wasn't really looking to get into jiu-jitsu. I didn't even know what jiu-jitsu was at the moment, you know. So I started training Muay Thai, and then I was like, yeah, I want to do MMA, and they're like, yeah, but you better get a good ground game. I was like, ground game? What the fuck is that? And I that went on like that for like 3 years. So I trained in Muay Thai like 14, 15, 16. And then when I went to do that transition to MMA, I started training MMA, and a lot of guys will have a very good ground game because they're doing jujitsu all the time. And I was like, fuck, like my striking is good, but as soon as I get taken down, like I felt like a fucking noob, you know. And then I remember one of my teachers, he said like, your striking is good, you know how to move, but like I will just take jujitsu for a couple of years, just jujitsu, and you know, improve a lot on that. And that was when I was about 16. I did a couple of years there, and
Is
my
this
my
still in Canada?
no, that was in Colombia when I came
Okay,
back
so
from the
you got
exchange program.
exposed to MMA in Canada and was like, "I
Yeah,
wanna try this out," and then you
but I ended
continued.
up doing Muay Thai, not
So you did
MMA.
Muay Thai, and then you continued your training when you went back to Colombia?
I did Muay Thai. No, I started Muay Thai when I went back to Colombia. As
When
soon
you
as
went
I
back.
got
Okay,
back.
so
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
training started in Colombia.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
yeah.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
I started training for a couple of years, and then I started jujitsu. And my first teacher, he was like this, you know, straight arrow judo kind of teacher. He was like, "No, you have to know the names of this, and if you don't know the names, and then you can't get the blue belt." Like it was like, oh, you have to know, you know, all the fucking names and all that Japanese shit. And I was like, and then I remember just feeling really stuck at some point. Like I would like be good in the roles and all that shit, but like I wouldn't know the names of those shits, you know. And it was like one stripe every year or something for the blue belt, you know. So and then I when as soon as I got to Marcelo, I remember I had like two stripes, and I've been training in Marcelo at that point for a while, and then I just got an extra stripe over there. I got an
What
extra
got
two
you
stripe.
from Bogota to New York that first time?
Oh, okay. So that first time I had to take the SAT because we don't take that in New York, in Colombia, I mean. So I looked up a school that helps you prep for the courses for the SAT and for the ACT, and I just went over there. And by that point, I was already doing jujitsu, like jujitsu
So
head.
you went to New York in order to take an SAT prep course?
Yes,
Okay.
and
And
by
how
that
long
time,
were you there? How long were you in New York for that period of time?
like a year, two, a
A
year.
year?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how did you end
So
up was the course for 1 year? I feel like the course wouldn't really? It was
yeah,
1
yeah.
year,
It
the
was for
course.
1 year.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, this is for people that have no idea about like American school systems. So it
Okay.
was like because the SAT has a lot of vocabulary that not even normal people know, you know, like
Mhm,
remember, you know, it's like I would do really good on those shits because a lot of the words are Latin rooted. And I
mhm.
was like, oh, that sounds like this in Spanish. And I was like, oh, they will ask what's the meaning of this word. And I was like, oh, it's this. And it's like, how do you fuck you know so much? Well, my classmates would ask me, and I was like, simple. It just sounds like this other word in Spanish, which is also very Latin rooted. They're like, oh, okay, yeah. But that was like a whole year, and by that point, I already had a couple of competitions under my belt as a white belt in Colombia, and I already knew who Marcelo was. Like, so I
Okay.
was like, and I was living far from the city. Like, let's say you live in I don't know what's this other in Tampa, and you go to train to ATT in Orlando, you know.
Yeah.
So I was traveling every time like 50 minutes to an hour just to get to New York to train. Like that was my only exposure to the city, apart
And
from
how many days a week were you
clubs and
training
parties.
jujitsu at Marcelo's during this 1 year?
As soon as I like as much as I could, you know, as much as I could. Probably every day though, every
Okay.
day. Yeah, and that by that point, Marcel was a lot in the gym. You know, like Mateus Diniz, Gianni Grippo, those guys, like they were still like purple belts or something. You know, I remember. And Bernardo Faria was still at the gym, like at Marcelo's. Like and who else is there? Well, Paul Schreiner, who is also a head coach, right? One of the head coaches right now. He's still there. He was there at the moment, and he was the guy that taught most of the white belt classes because Marcelo didn't taught much of the like fundamentals. You had to be a blue belt to get into Marcelo's class.
What about, the guy I can't think of his name. He's the guy that does, Marcos to, he does
Tinoco.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's there. He's there, but he wasn't there the first time. No,
Okay.
he wasn't there the first time.
So what was okay, before I ask about Marcelo. So then after training in Marcelo's for a year, you go back to Colombia. And what year is that now?
Um, that's 2015, and I go back to Colombia totally fucked, like my knee was totally fucked. So 2015,
Okay,
it's
so you were getting ready to when you said the academy, you were at this academy where you guys were prepping for the SAT, and that's why it was so international, and you're gonna compete in
no,
the New
and
York
not only
Open.
that, like other people just go there for 1 month to learn English,
Yeah, I
or
got you. So it's like immersion. What was your level of English before you went to New York?
good because I already been in Canada for a whole year, and I
Okay.
took English. I took English at school, but the when I really learned English, like a normal, almost like a native speaker, was in Canada. Because first of all, I hated my classmates from the school I traveled with, so I would never be in contact with somebody that spoke Spanish. So for a whole year, I wasn't speaking. Like I remember getting back to Colombia and slurring my words in Spanish. Like, oh shit, yeah,
Okay.
because I for a whole year I didn't even spoke Spanish.
Okay. Okay. So you get back to Colombia. You're injured now
Yeah,
because of that soccer match.
because of that soccer person.
Yeah.
Soccer,
Yeah.
SUCK, yeah. My
So
best friend.
at this point, you're kind of out of action for about a year. You said right? 2 years?
I mean, 1 year and one of like laziness.
Okay,
One
so
of
it
just
was
like,
I thought it was 2 separate I thought it was so it's actually it was a 2-year block of time. It wasn't 1 year and then training and then
oh
another
no no
1.
no 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 no
It
no
was
no
just
no
2
no. It
years
was
off.
2 years straight because by the end of the first year, I still had that lingering
So, before you got injured, about how many years had you been training jujitsu?
like a couple, like two, maybe, yeah, like two and a half.
Like 2 years and you had 2 stripes on your white belt.
No, by that point, I already have four stripes.
You had 4 stripes. Okay, so
Yeah,
then you got hurt. You were
yeah,
on
and
the
that's
cusp of
why
getting good.
that
Marcelo was
yeah.
gonna tie that belt around your waist. He's like, "After the New York Open, here's your blue
Oh
belt,
yes, I
and
was
now you can
sure
train
though.
with me
I
in the
was
blue belt
sure though.
class," and then you get hurt. You're
Yeah.
out for 2 years. Then what happens?
Well, at the so the first year I was injured, and then the start of the second year I was like, fuck, I gotta get better, my knee,
Mhm,
So I went back to rehab, and then 6 months in the second year I was already good. And so
mhm.
I started training jiu-jitsu back up again with a friend. So the first academy that I started training in Colombia, the guy that started, he was a blue belt when I was a white belt, and
Okay.
then fast forward, now that guy had his own academy and he was already a brown belt. And I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
yeah, I was like, holy shit. So like my friend ended up being my coach. And he was like, oh, you look ready for the blue belt, blah, 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 train a lot. And then I was like, just like, nah, training enough. Like I was training like once, twice a week, like no technical improvement at that moment, just maintaining what I knew. And 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 that was about that, until I got to Orlando. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna do jiu-jitsu like seriously again.
So, when you got to Orlando, that was to study at Full Sail, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So, how
And
did you
surprisingly, I slacked 2 months, 2 months of doing nothing.
when you got there, it took you 2 months to find the gym?
Yeah, pretty much, bro. Not to
So,
find it,
how did
to
you
to
okay, so how did you find so you've landed in Orlando, you're going to school at Full Sail, and it was for what? It was for music management? What was it for?
music business. Yeah, music
Music,
management, same
okay.
thing.
And how did you find our gym, ATT Orlando, and did you check out any other gyms in
No,
the
no,
process?
no, no, no. I was like, American Top Team was already a famous brand, for me in my head. So I was like, fuck it, it's right next to my fucking house. Like, let's go.
Okay,
If I
so
don't
it just
like it, I'll
happened
just
that
try
our
something else.
gym it was just coincidence that our gym was very close to where you were living.
Yeah, it was the closest one, as a matter of fact. That's why I ended up there, because he was like two birds with one. I actually went to another gym first, and he was like this tilt boxing club or some shit. And I was like, I went there once, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. When's the sparring class? I really want to spar. And they're like,
Mhm.
no, we don't spar here. And I was like, okay, I'm out of here.
Okay.
Like I was like, what the fuck is this bullshit? Like
Okay,
no
so
sparring.
what what was your first day like at ATT Orlando? Did you do a intro class? Did you just jump into a regular class? What was that first day like? Because I don't remember. I just to me, my memory is like you were there training. I just don't remember when you first arrived and how
Yeah,
that happened.
it was very. I think I incorporated myself really fast in the family, you know. But I remember the first time
Like a
coming to.
virus, he infected us all.
No,
No,
I just remember.
but seriously, how did you like, what was your first day like at the gym?
I remember I was lacking for a whole month and a half, and then midway through that month and a half, like through that second month, midway through that second month, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get physically ready, like I'm gonna get my fitness to like top notch. And as soon as I feel I'm doing that, I'm gonna start training. So I started with 20. I was doing a lot of bikes. So I started with 20 miles. Then I was doing 40 miles. And when I was doing 60, I was like, I'm doing 60 miles on a fucking bike. Like I'm a beast. Like I'm good to go, you know? Then I started training. And by that point, I still had the idea that I wanted to do at least Muay Thai, you know, go back. So I was
Mhm,
going Fridays a lot to sparring, you know, with the MMA people, like sparring a lot, throwing, and that's when I was like, oh, I fucking like this gym, you know. I like the gyms where like you can still spar and like people go hard, but they don't want to try to kill you,
mhm,
like that little balance of like pushing each other but not trying to take each other's heads. And I was like, oh, I like this gym, and I was like, I remember the first classes um at least jujitsu, you know, having a quick chat with Paul about like that I trained before Marcelo and I was injured and blah blah blah. And like, you know, I think I don't know if Paul does that a lot often, but he just like picked me out of the bunch. He's like, oh, let's roll, you know. And I was like, yo, this guy's jujitsu is fucking crazy, you know. He'll do that, you know, because he'll do that fucking cartwheel and all that fancy shit that he does when he wants to fucking mock you. And I was like, yo, bro, this guy's jiu-jitsu is fucking nice. And I think that was the cherry on top. I was like, perfect, I'm staying here. It's right next to my house. It's an American top team gym. It has all like not only one martial arts, it has a weight section, which I was like looking forward to it.
mhm.
And then I was like, no, this is perfect. Like I'm staying here.
Very cool, man. Very cool. So when did we first like interact? Because I don't remember. I just like I said, I just
January.
feel like
That was I arrived in October at the end of October, and I started training in January
January 2019. No, excuse me,
20
2018.
2018.
18.
Correct?
Okay, so
2018.
you came to the gym. I had been there maybe a month at that point. Like
Oh,
I
okay.
started the
I
end
started
of
at the end of January.
yeah, and I started the end of December. So I was there maybe a month.
Mm.
And then this guy comes in and like you said you were doing more Muay Thai and MMA at the beginning?
No, no, I was doing Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai
You're doing
and
Muay Thai and
Jiu-Jitsu,
Jiu-Jitsu,
Muay Thai and
okay.
Jiu-Jitsu. But at some point, the schedule changed towards like if I wanted to do Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, I had to do Jiu-Jitsu and bag and pack. And I was like, I don't fucking like this class because you get somebody that's never fucking hold pads before and they don't know how to like, you know, cross like the
Mhm.
jab with the cross and they don't know how to call the combinations and it's fucking annoying. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that class. Plus,
And you're
like,
hyperextending your elbow because they're not hitting the punch, so you're like,
yeah, yeah,
"Ah,
yeah,
my
yeah,
elbow."
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, fuck that, bro. I was like, no more back and pad for me. And then I think at some point the sparring just stopped after the first competition. I was like, I'm just gonna do jujitsu. I'm gonna go back into being a jujitsu head. I know my striking is good after like a couple of weeks of refining technique and
Mhm,
practicing footwork and all that stuff. Because striking always comes like a little bit more natural to the body, you know, like you know the
mhm.
movements and stuff. But like the technique itself, like if you stop doing jujitsu like that, it's like you're like, oh, I want this technique. How do I sweep this fucking person from half guard or something? You know, you're like you don't know how to do anything. And I was like, oh no, no, I don't. So I was like, I want to really improve my jujitsu, which I feel I did. Like a lot, like most of the stuff or the stuff that is like very deeply rooted in my jujitsu, it is what I learned those years with Coach Paul.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. So
Yeah.
how, uh how would you compare the environment at Marcelo's to what we have at our gym in Orlando?
Hmm. It's difficult to say because it's such a bigger gym, you know. You can like I told you, if you want to be a ghost and not talk to anybody or just go there, smash people and leave, You can do that. But people are really friendly. It's not that it's a very friendly environment. That's the thing, you know. If you want to do that, you can try, but people are always like want to like trying to talk to you, or you know, at the end you just lay around, like you just lay around, talk with the coaches, you know, talk shit, especially in the morning class. You know, some people, especially the coaches that are not going out, you know, you can just lay around, have a little aftermath talk. It's cool. It's cool. And that was one of the things that, you know, didn't let me go to Unity, because I was still in my mind. I wanted to try Unity, but some people were just like making friends with me and like, and I was like, oh, get out. Like, I don't want to know anybody, because if I stop going here, I don't want to like, oh, why you stop? You left the Unity. Like, that's bullshit. No, I don't want that. I ended up staying. And it was sad that the gym closed. Like, it was one day we were training, the other day we were closed. Like, it was crazy. No, like, oh, with my clothes, like, no, no, no. It was like training clothes.
Wow, it was that
Yeah, because
sudden.
they started please sending mails. Please, if you're sick, don't come to the gym. Like, if you have a running nose, if you have any symptoms of flu, don't come to the gym. Don't come to the gym. And then I just remember training. And actually, the day before they closed, I missed that training. I was like, I felt really lazy that day, and I didn't went because I had to get up at 6:10 or something. And then I missed that day, and the next day they closed, and I was like, motherfucker, you know?
And now Marcelo's here in Florida waiting it out. He's just kinda
Yeah,
chilling.
yeah.
He's
I
chilling.
mean, he
So
must have a considerable amount of money, taking into account that you pay almost $300 for a membership, though.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
it's expensive,
So,
though.
w I found even though you've been to way more gyms than I have been, I already feel like each gym has some styles that are represented more, because of probably,
The
the
head coach.
coach and
Yeah,
the head coach and
yeah,
obviously the people under him.
yeah.
I know what our gym feels like, and when I've gone to other gyms, it's w we are top heavy kind of pressure, that classic Carlson Gracie kind of style, so to speak. Um, I'm kinda curious. I'm not trying to identify what exactly our style is or Marcelo's, but were there differences in how people rolled at Marcelo's versus at
No,
ATT
no, because
Orlando?
Marcel's such a big gym that some people don't have the foundations from Marcelo. It just came from another gym, you know.
Okay.
So you have people doing bolos, you have people with top heavy pressure, you have people, you know, there's you can really see when in the advanced class, you can really see a difference on, like, they will split you between, like, after middleweight and up this side of the mat, and middleweight and like lightweight and down this side of the mat. So like the pros, like for example, Mateus Diniz, Vinicius Strator, Marcos Tinoco, they have a very top heavy pressure towards like the lightweights, like Gianni. They have like a more Kiss of the Dragon, Baron Bolo kind of style. um but like, I didn't feel that, you know, signature style of the gym, because of that reason, because a lot of people haven't really been there with Marcelo forever. You know,
Mhm.
I feel that more here in Barcelona, because Jonas, who is the head coach, he's a nursed and have this white belts, some white belts, to blue belts, and even
Mhm.
to purple belts, and you can really feel how his style translates a lot into what other people do. You know,
Yeah.
I
So,
felt that way more here.
way more in Barcelona.
Yeah.
So and that's where you currently are. You're in Barcelona, you've been there, you touched on it at the beginning. You've been there, what, a couple months now? 2 or 3 months?
I got here October 2nd, and yeah,
Oh,
October
yeah, 2
second, so
months,
it's gonna be 2 months. Yeah,
2 months. And how do you like the gym you're at right now?
it's amazing. It was like it was the same situation as Orlando. I was like, or no, I mean as New York. I had like two or three gyms that I wanted to try. You know, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the first one, see who the teacher is. You know, not talk to anybody, play cold. You know, maybe just go for a week and then try another gym.
Mhm.
Then I went there, and I already, you know, looked up the gym. It was close to my house, and I was like, well, let's see who the head coach is, because last year, you know, the webpage, another head coach was showing. And I was like, what? And I started, you know, looking at the head coach. I was like, What, bro? This guy is like IBJJF world champion on every fucking belt except black, and he's been black for like 6 months or I think less than a year. I was like, damn, you know. And then I was like, okay, he's also Nogi world champ. He's like, oh wow, like I gotta train there, and I get there, and he's not there. I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, no, no, he's in the Panams. And I was
in
like, oh,
Orlando.
that's fucking cool, you know. He went to the Miami Open, got gold, and then he went to the Panams and got silver. Um, but the guy that was there at the moment, purple belt, 4 stripes, now a brown belt. As soon as the coach got back, he got promoted to brown belt. He was a Colombian guy, so I was like perfect. You know, I started talking with the guy, and he was pretty cool. So I kind of like that was kind of like okay, perfect because this gym has everything. This gym has fucking weights. If I want to do weights, because I don't have access to weights anywhere except in the gym. So if I want to do weights, if I want to get my fitness like top notch with like maybe some CrossFit sessions or something, I could do that as well. And there's also Muay Thai and boxing. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna stay here, especially for the weights. You know, I didn't want to pay jiu-jitsu and weights gym.
Yeah, and that's usually more expensive in Spain than it is, you know, here in the
Actually,
States.
no, it's not cheap though.
Really? How much is a gym membership there to go to a traditional gym?
Oh, to a traditional gym, like
Mhm.
20, 30 euros.
20, 30 euros? Okay. It's about
Yeah,
the same here in the States.
yeah,
Like
around.
I'm paying $10 a month right now to
Yeah,
go
but
to.
gyms in Orlando are like crazy cheap. In New York, they
Yeah.
were like 40, 50 though. Like
Okay, that makes
40,
sense.
50. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, everything in New
Because
York is more
I
expensive.
remember, like, I don't know who was it. Like, one of my friends is like, yeah, bro, you should come to our gym. You know, there's like sauna, there's like fucking, wet sauna. He's like, how much you paying? And it's like $15 a month. And I'm like, what? In Orlando, you know? I was like, that's fucking cheap as fuck. But I already had weights at ATT and I had a gym at my house. So I was like,
Mhm.
perfect. I don't really need to do that.
So, my first question about Marcelo's is, have you ever attended a belt promotion at Marcelo's? Because I've seen video of promotions at Marcelo's, and it looks like a zoo, like,
Um,
so full.
no, I skipped it. I skipped it because I talked to to Coach Paul Schreiner. I was like, hey, Coach, like I just got here, but like I train every day, like sometimes even twice. You think I could just sign up for the because the way it works in Marcelo is you have to sign up for the graduation. So you sign up and you say there's like 2 or 3 spots. So morning, noon, and night. So you choose the spot that suits you better. Then you put in your name. Then you put in your gym code. So they track how many sessions you've done, and then you put in your name and how many stripes or your belt and how many stripes you have. And then after that, they sit together, all the coaches. They see how much you've trained, and they're like, oh, this guy's good, blah, blah, blah. And then they do the promotions. And then I talked with Coach Paul, and he's like, nah, I mean, you just got here. Just wait it out until the next one. We usually do belt promotions early in April, and you're gonna pretty much get the purple belt at that moment. I was like, oh, good, sure. And I've even roll with the head coach at that moment with Denise, with Paul Schreiner. He was like, oh, your guard passing is really good. If you chase a little bit more in the back, this and that, some details. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll just wait until April. And oh, surprise, fucking Corona, bro. But didn't really daze me that much. I mean, I'm just
Dude,
enjoying the journey.
you you sandbagger, you.
Yeah, it's like
Sandbagging.
yeah,
Dude,
yeah, yeah. But
you should
yeah,
do,
that was
like,
like
Blue Belt
fucking
Worlds, man.
yeah. I should though. I should.
Actually, I don't think they're doing I think they're only doing Masters Worlds this year.
Yeah,
They're
this
not
year,
doing
yes.
regular Worlds.
Yeah, Kenan Duarte got off with that. They're like
Yeah.
got suspended for doping and then no worlds. He's like,
So I've always said, of the people I know that do jujitsu, you seem to be one of the guys that is really on top of, um, kind of the new and evolving techniques out there. Okay, I'm never gonna say that you do all the techniques very,
no,
very well, but you're
no, no,
aware
no. I'm
of them
aware
all.
of them, but like I'm one of those people that say like you if you're gonna learn a fucking technique, don't grab a fucking 15-second skit and in Instagram and try it on your head coach. Like no. if you're gonna grab a skill from Instagram, like at least fucking drill it and like have that movement rooted into your muscle memory and then try it. But then
Sure.
some people think that they can just fucking grab um grab a 15-second video on Instagram and just do the technique. Like, no, that doesn't work like that, you know.
Well, I
But
remember you coming to the gym for a period of time there when you're training with us, and you'd have your iPad with slow
oh,
grappling.
but that's different. With the iPad, I had the floor grappling library, and that's sets of concepts, which is
I
way
know, and
different than the video.
you were looking at, like, Mendez Brothers. I think it was, like, Mendez Brothers style passing that you were looking at. My question is more general. How did you get into following jujitsu so much, and where do you see these moves? Is it just a social media thing? Are there particular resources you're looking at? Are you watching match footage?
No,
What
I
gave you
like to watch.
exposure to all this?
I like to watch the tournaments. That's always been a thing for me. I remember since I started jiu-jitsu with my friend that ended up becoming my coach. He was like, "Oh, bro, let's check the world's highlights. Let's see if we can find some matches and all that shit." And many times in those tournaments, you see people doing weird shit that they've been working on for months. Like one of the first things that dates me a lot was like the whole lapel system by Keenan. I was like, "Oh, this guy is tying people up." And they don't like. I remember the first time he used Keenan Cornelius used the warm guard with Leandro Low. He was desperate, bro. He was so desperate, like he was just trying to break out of it out of pure sheer force, and I was like, that's not gonna happen. So I was like, yo, Jiu-Jitsu still has a lot of room for improvement. And in my head, I was like, yo, so if I keep following like the big events, maybe I can stay on top of that. And then after I got floor grappling, I was like, yo, this there's a whole fucking library of techniques. Because one thing is learning a technique, and then the other thing is that you have like a whole fucking like set of systems where like you can see like the variation of this technique, and then
Mhm.
you have like a Q&A where they'll answer like, oh, if your opponent does this, do that, and if your opponent does this other thing, do that. I like that.
So, how much of your jujitsu now is self-taught, and how much of it is from what you've learned from your instructors?
No, I wouldn't say I do a lot of self taught stuff except
Mhm.
the bolo parts. I've kind of like drilled them, but I wouldn't say that not much of what I do is self taught. Is like my main movements are rooted are have been rooted because they've been taught like a lot of times, especially like what we've done with Coach Paul. Like that has stayed with me like, and it will stay with me forever, you know.
So what are some things that you recall from your time with us that really helped your game? Like, what are some specific techniques?
I remember like Coach Paul has a lot of good butterfly sweeps, and he will teach them. I especially remember one that I still use to this day, which is grabbing the belt and pulling yourself under,
Mhm.
or doing the no underhook just with the lapel. I
Mhm.
remember that. I remember hitting a knee bar out of the reverse X, where you pull the knee on top of your chest and you shoot up. Then
Mhm.
you have the honey hole and the knee bar. I remember hitting that on a on a purple belt at Carinas, and they got really pissed because they're like, "Oh, you can't really do that shit because he's a purple belt," and like then they put me to roll with a black belt, and he obliterated me. Like they're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." He's like, "You want to try knee bars? Roll with this guy." And they changed me. They immediately midway through the roll, they changed me. They changed partners. And I was like, "Oh, damn."
Alright, so tell me a little bit more about this story. So you're at Cabrini so where's Cabrinhas? When you say you're at Cabrinhas, where are you?
Los Angeles.
You're in LA. What were you doing in LA? Just visiting?
I was about to graduate, and it was 420, and so I was like, I don't know LA, I don't know LA, and what better time to go to LA than 420? So I decided to go over there, and I found it wasn't the main Cobrinha gym. It was like West Side Training Center. That was the name of the gym, and it was like Cobrinha BJJ. So it wasn't the main Cobrinha, but the head coach was Isaac Dutherlin. I don't know how you say that, but anyways, but he wasn't there at the moment. I was like, oh, I was so pissed because I literally went there thinking I was gonna train with this world class athlete, and he wasn't there. And I was like, oh shit.
So so you're dropping into a gym and you're rolling as a white belt or a blue belt at this time?
No, that was a blue belt, but that was like after like a week of training. That wasn't the first day.
Okay, so you'd been training there for more than one day.
I stayed almost 15 days
Okay.
in Los Angeles, and I trained every single day.
So you trained every day and you trained at that one place, West Side.
Yeah, West Side
Okay,
Training Center.
and like a weekend, you're rolling, you're a blue belt going with a purple belt, and I'm assuming they like observe IBJJF rules or something. They're just like you can't knee bar because
Oh,
IBJJF.
bro, everybody got so tight. They were like, "Oh, did he just did a knee bar on this fucking person?" Like, I
Oh
was
boy.
like, "Damn, chill a little bit." Like, I was like,
So you did a knee bar. How did your opponent react when you knee barred him?
he was like, "What the fuck?" It was like that. It was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Oh, sorry." It was just like a reflex because like by that point, I remember we've been drilling this technique the week before going to LA. So I was like, just a reflex. I remember having the X with the hooks changed, and I was like, I just pulled the knee on top of me, and I just did the knee. I was just pure muscle memory, and then I was like, ah, yes, I fucked up.
So then they stopped the roll.
Yeah, the head coach, not the head coach, the secondary head coach, he was there and he was like,
The person who was observing, the person who was like running the class.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He was like, no, 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 you can't do that in a purple belt. Like and they called no, it was a brown belt that they called, but he was a competitor brown belt. You want to do a knee bar, and then they called a brown belt, and it was like, you go with him, and I'm like, fuck,
Were they all Brazilian?
no, 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 no. It's like a lot of Americans.
A lot of Americans. And then what happened at that point?
No, no, no. I mean, I remember he smashed me and shit. But I even tried the same technique on that guy, but it didn't work. But but I was like, okay, then just fucking try it. Whatever.
Do you I mean, okay. Have you how many like what are some of have you had other like moments like that on the map? Because I
Yeah,
know from
yeah,
well,
bro. First class on Marcelo, I put somebody out, and he had a seizure in the middle of the mat.
I know, but no one was like pissed at you for that. They're like that happens. That's
I
jujitsu.
mean, no, some Marcelo wasn't pissed, but immediately they put me to roll with one of the black belts after that roll. Like one of the black belts called me out.
Bro, you're
No,
getting
no,
the mat enforcer right away, bro.
it was, yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a mat enforcer called Brian, brown belt, 4 stripes, so practically a black belt. And I remember him just smashing me like all around, like oh.
So, and what was this guy's? Was he a middleweight and under? Because I've never heard that before.
Oh, no, 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 no. They will only do that for like hard sparring rolls and takedowns.
Okay, so when they do hard rolling and takedowns, that when they split you up by weight. Other than that, everyone rolls with everybody.
I mean, you're just there, like, and you raise your hand, and some people are like, yeah, yeah, yeah," or you do eye
Okay.
contact with somebody, and if you're a bitch, you're like, go to the wall, and then you drop your head down, and you don't try to make eye contact with anybody because, you're a bitch and you don't want to roll. But yeah.
So, see, I remember when I rolled with you. I remember that if I tell people if I roll with Chihuahua, it's like if I'm lazy, he's gonna submit me. Like I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
be lazy. Like he's gonna armbar. I'm gonna his entire body's gonna be wrapped around my arm, and
Oh,
I'm gonna be
yeah.
trying to shake it loose,
Don't
and it's like
fucking doubt that.
I
If not, ask Jamie.
Oh God, here we go again. So yeah, I mean, you'll fully like wrap your body around someone's arm and then
Yeah, I
pop
don't
it.
know
I'm
why.
like,
That's always been my favorite technique.
an armbar.
And that was my first coach's favorite technique too. And also, you can imagine the drilling, like the amount of drilling on the arm bar.
Where did you get the that loop choke variation that you do though?
That
Well, not
loop
loop
choke.
choke, but cross choke. It's a cross choke.
It's a loop choke. It's a loop choke.
Oh, it is a loop choke.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're using are you using your other arm or your leg? I thought you were using your leg.
No, you well. There's many ways of getting it, but my favorite is just the setup, either from knee shield or from the turtle when you're in top position, where you grab the loop choke position, and instead of going under the arm
Mhm.
like this, you
Yeah.
just you just drop your head under his head and turn around,
Okay.
and then you dive with your other arm in his back. You get a back grip so he can't roll back, and that is a win-win situation because he either taps goes out, or you get the sweep because they force the roll on the other side, and then you end up on top.
So where did you pick that one up from?
That one I remember seeing it on a Jason Scully video, one of those like 25 D chokes in 5 minutes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
And I
saw
was
I
like,
saw a half guard sweep one like that. It was like, 40
yeah,
half guard sweep.
I've always liked lapel chokes, and I remember for during a time in a coaches and during coaches ball, I was trying to hit many of those lapel chokes, like from the knee slice, crossing the lapel over the Americana with the lapel, the Ezekiel, the Bravo choke, the baseball bat choke. Like I've always liked lapel chokes. I remember for a while I had this very nice sneaky setup of a baseball bat choke where I would just like initial it and I would kind of like drop the shield and let the person smash me so they could pass, and I would just go for the baseball bat from underneath.
Mhm.
I've
Mhm.
always liked lapel chokes. I think they're if you have sneaky lapel chokes, people don't see them coming. Like I also like to do the canto choke from the side control where you just grab the lapel and you step your head over it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, I've always liked lapel chokes. I think they're pretty cool, and if you know how to pull them, like they're cool, and they tap people out. They don't see them coming,
So, uh,
especially
when,
that one that you said.
yeah, when did you first get exposed to the bolo, and how did you, like, develop that? Because that's something you
Mm,
said you did on your own.
Yeah, when did I first got exposed to the bolo? I've always liked the Baron Bolo, but I remember my friend back in Colombia, they like doing these exercises on the wall, like you're like in the wall and you step around and then you
Yep.
start
I know
spinning.
what
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about.
And I remember sucking at that exercise. And so when I started training the second time on Marcelo, I would just drill that, drill that, drill that, drill that, drill that, and try just try to hit the ball like I was like, oh no, I mean a coach ball. I was just drill that, drill that, drill that, drill that. And then with Nate, we were doing a lot of bolos. And the first time I started like trying the bolos live, he would get so pissed because he was like, "Oh, what the fuck is that fucking YouTube move that you just did?" And I was like, "Bro, I got your back. Like, don't get fucking pissed about it. Just do something about it."
That's awesome, dude.
But it's been a lot of drilling and drilling. The best drills that I've done for the bolo is that those two videos that I showed you, Modern Baron Bolo Clinic by Laglan Giles or Giles. I don't know how you fucking say
I
that
think
name.
yeah.
But in those two videos, they show like basically some fundamental concepts of the bolo. And after like I just studied those two videos, crab ride and bolo. And once I had that, I was like, okay, doing these drills and doing these drills. And then after I learned that, I kind of incorporated the matrix and the kiss of the dragon and all the other inversions. But it's just about knowing how to invert fast, Especially that drill where you're like with your reverse de la riva and your opponent, your uke is just basically legs open, and you're like spinning around the legs and then
Mhm.
going back and going back. That also helps a lot. We're actually doing this drill today, and I was like, oh, this is my bread and butter. But yeah, that I think that was that the modern berimbolo clinic, and then watching a lot of the modern berimbolo in the walls and the panams. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. And then seeing it firsthand with Gianni Grippo, yeah, that was another level, because he'll have these crazy inversions, but his top game is super heavy. Like if he's going with somebody light like me, he'll just fucking smash the fucking living soul out of you. Like his grips are like I've rode with many world class black belts, and his grips particularly are so strong. Like I remember this guy just getting a hold of me, and I just couldn't break the fucking grip. I was like, even using my whole like like I couldn't break it. I was like, damn.
Is Gianni like your size or is he a little bigger?
No, he's a lightweight.
He's a lightweight. Okay.
That's like Lucas Lepre category, like Rafa
Okay.
Mendes category.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a little bigger, and he feels really strong. He's really strong. His game is really good too. I don't know
So
why Marcelo like has this like world class like athletes, and they train so, and they're really good, but in the competitions they always end up falling short by like one spot, like oh, silver, or like, before the finals, and I'm like, damn. I remember there was a very famous match on IBJJF Worlds where like Mateus Diniz and Lucas Barbosa, they've always had beef because they're the same category. They've had a lot of matches together, and they always like end up going to points or something. Nobody submits anybody. In this particular match, I think it was the final or the semifinal of the Worlds, and Diniz gets Lucas Barbosa's back, and he can't tap him out. They scramble around and they scramble to the end of the mat, and I don't know what the fuck happened, but he was just they end up Lucas ends up on Mateus Diniz's back control standing, and instead of him defending to life and death with like 1 minute on the clock and winning by points, he just got tapped out, and I was like, damn, that's the biggest like overturn I've seen in jiu-jitsu. It was crazy. I even talked about that with him, and he was like, "Don't remind me about that. That was fucking nightmare." Like I was like, "Oh, that's one of my favorite matches from you." He was like, "Don't remind me about that fucking match. Like I'm still having nightmares about that." And I'm like, "Yeah, bro, I believe you."
oh jeez. No gi or gi, what do you prefer?
Of course,
Yeah.
Gi, but I've been doing a lot of, well, not here, but at Marcelo, I was training a lot of no gi, and there was this guy that he would have this crazy no-gi technique. He will be an absolutely no-gi guy, like Joel Borges. He was very good with the gi, but his no-gi game was like just too good. Like he was really good, really good. And his no-gi game was like Marcelo's no-gi game, like head on arm, chin strap control, guillotine, butterflies. It was pretty good. So I was like, I think a lot of the nogi game that I've learned, of course, with Andrew too at top team, like he has a lot of those wrestling, like overhook, underhook, all that. Like most of my wrestling came from ATT, and then most of my nogi, a lot of my nogi that I do now comes from that teacher. Like just a lot of chin strap control, head and arm.
Mhm.
Sometimes I've been trying to get better at that combination of Dars and Anaconda, But
Mhm.
I don't know if it's my like maybe my arms are too short. I don't know. I just have to try it a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I know that Henner talks about doing like the shallow dars where you grab your own forearm, and he
Oh
has long arms and he swears by
yeah.
that.
Oh, there's a
Yeah.
there's a version where you can do it with the gi like that. If you can't really do like this, then you grab like this with your
Mhm.
gi, and you can still squeeze. But
Yeah.
it's just about getting it in the rows. The thing is that if I'm like, let's say I'm in a knee cut, instead of trying the Dars, I usually try the lapel choke. And if they defend, I'll go for the Bravo choke with the arm in.
Mhm.
So like because that feels like a safer choice for me than try to go with the darts, and like my arms are not that long, and I feel that the guy is just too much on top of me, like under me. And I'm like, no, 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 I'm just gonna lapel choke.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, what are do you have any goals when it comes to jujitsu? Like long-term goals?
Yeah, bro, get the black belt.
Get the black belt. Do you have a do you have a particular like coach that you'd like to get it under, or are you just happy to get it
No,
wherever?
no, no, I'm happy to get it wherever though.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it's just like life takes you on a different journey sometimes. That's part of jujitsu and of life. So I wouldn't want to be like, oh yes, I want to get this black belt from Marcel or something. That's idealistic, but like some people, move world and mountains just to train somewhere. Like I met this guy that he trained at Marcelo. He was like, no, bro, I just like I work this bullshit job, but like just to pay my rent and like basic stuff. All I do is train. Like he was just like a crazy. He was just wanted to train at Marcellus. Like he was like that was his life. Like that was his like. It doesn't matter what job I have as long as I can train all day. Like I was like, oh, okay, I get it, I get it. But
You gotta
for me,
go to
like that.
Puerto Rico, man. Go to Puerto Rico and train with the Danaher Death Squad. They're all down there now.
You mean me?
Yeah, go to Puerto Rico, dude.
Nah, bro. Their gi game sucks. They don't
They
have
don't
gi game.
they don't do gi game. There's no gi
No,
down there.
you've seen the gi classes on the documentary they have in Rensus is John Danaher with the shorts and the gi on top, like Sambo, teaching the classes. And I remember seeing this video where like the guy is like, okay, so imagine that I have pants and he's grabbing my pants, and I'm like, you know what I mean? He's like, imagine that I have pants and he has the ankle grip, like the monkey ankle grip, and I'm like, imagine that I have pants? Like, what? No way. I mean, no disrespect to the dead squad,
Okay,
like, but their no gi is amazing, but they never put the gi on.
yeah. So, all right, so
Which is
we've
for
made it an
that
hour and
exact
now I get to ask the question.
for that exact same reason, Gordon Ryan can never be the GOAT. Period.
Oh, here we go. Here
Because
we go.
the GOAT has to be gi and no gi. Rafa Mendes won ADCC and Worlds. Marcelo won ADCC and Worlds. Cobrinha too, like all the greats, like
So
Jacare
so
too,
for
like
you it's like so okay. And I would imagine Hodger's in that category, Galval's in that category. Then
I don't know
Galval's won the
Gabao because of the doping. Like his doping is so
What are
obvious,
you
though.
talking about? What are you talking about?
Well, I don't know if they dope, but like I remember like when I started Jiu-Jitsu, Gabao was like a middleweight or like something like that. He was like a middleweight. And then out of nowhere, he was like this, like same as Toquinho. That around that time, Toquinho was also around, you know. So and
Yeah.
Toquinho's always been a monster, but Galbao wasn't like that. And then out of nowhere, they show up to ADCC, and Galbao is, and I'm like, damn, bro, this guy's like crazy
All that
good.
acai and Jesus, dude.
Yeah,
Acai and
Acai and Jesus, like
acai.
Kanan Duarte.
Yeah. Who do you got in that upcoming match between Kynan and Adolfo?
Rodolfo, obviously.
Really?
Rodolfo's never lost to anybody, bro, except Dean Lister.
In no-gi, but he's going in no-gi
Oh,
and he
in
hasn't
Nogi. But in
listen,
Nogi, he's never lost to anybody except Dean Lister.
but he hasn't done a no-gi match in a while.
Yeah, but it's still Rodolfo. Like Rodolfo's game is not already complicated. He just smashes the fuck out of you. Like he just passes your guard and smashes you, and he does it so well that he doesn't need to do anything else. You know,
Mhm.
I regret that they didn't put the gi that much on ATT. I don't know if they ever wore the gi because sometimes I would miss one Monday. And then Coach Paul would be like, "Oh, Jacare was here with the gi, and Rodolfo too. You missed it, haha." And I'm like, "Seriously?" I don't know. Like I don't know if he was just taunting or
No,
like
there I mean that there was a period of time where they were coming in Mondays for pro practice.
Yeah, because there was during that period I was
They were
training
doing
every
pro
Monday for
practice at
pro practice.
12 and they were warming up in gi at 11.
Because that's the
And
class I was doing Monday 11.
then you said I'm going to start going to that class and then they never showed up again.
Nah, it wasn't like that. It's like I had a change of schedule, so Mondays and Wednesday I couldn't train during at night. So I was just training during the day.
Mhm. The other one was when Craig went to Fusion to train and we
Craig,
missed that.
oh Craig Jones, I remember seeing that.
Yeah,
I
he went over
remember
to
seeing that.
Fusion and I was like, "Well, I mean, just let us know. Like, I'll just go over and watch and get a photo with him."
Yeah, yeah,
People are
yeah.
like, "Oh, you can train though." I was like, "Well, I look, I just want to take a photo with the guy. That's all." Like, I
Well, I
and
remember the first time I saw Rodolfo, I just waited after MMA practice was over just to talk to him.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, damn. And I even spoke in my broken Portuñol, saying like, bro, you're a legend. Like I've watched
Fala
every
galera.
yeah, yeah. I was like, I've watched many of your matches, like your skirmish with fucking Buchecha, like they're fucking great. Like it's just that's one of the best rivalries in the history of the sport, Buchecha and Rodolfo. I was like, and also Leandro Law, but then Leandro Law ended up being kinds of friends with like Buchecha, and then that didn't turn out to be like a rivalry. They're like just
Mhm.
two friends going in the mat.
Well, I saw Rodolfo training with Buchecha in Miami right now at
Yeah,
Cyborg's
yeah,
place.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I saw that
So
too.
that's
But
pretty
it's isn't
exciting.
he training at Fusion anymore, or he's?
He's doing his MMA training there. I think he's
Oh,
getting ready for this grappling match by training at Fight Sport with
oh,
Cyborg.
Oh, makes sense
So I went
because
down to South
no
Florida.
gi.
Yeah. So that's what's going on there. Okay, so the main topic of conversation, I've waited an hour to ask you this because you brought it up before, you brought it offline with us. Rolling high. So I
High
don't
rolling.
I have I as you know, I don't partake, and you very much are famous for getting absolutely blazed
No,
as you are.
I'm not famous for that. I was trying to keep it low profile until you in a class you just like I was just like I've been there for like a month or so. You didn't even have the confidence with me to do that. That's why I got so pissed. I was already friends with Nate and Adrian, and I was just I get there with Adrian. I don't remember if Nate was there, and I'm super high, and I'm trying to hide it because I don't know. Like the only person in the gym that I knew smoked and all that was Jim.
Mhm,
But then I didn't know anything. Like Coach Paul will be like social at sometimes, and then he'll be like mad cold at sometimes. So I was like, no, I'm not gonna, start, be so like pothead here in this gym. Like I don't know how people will react. On top of that, there's like a couple of cops training at the gym, like Freddie
mhm.
and Nick. Nick was it
Yeah,
Mr.
Nick
Nick?
Paul.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I was like, no, I don't want to,
And
be
Sean.
this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, insurance. So I was like, I don't want to be this pothead at the gym. And then you're like, Coach Paul, look, look at Chihuahua.
I
He's really
know.
high. And I'm like, dude, why will you do that? Like it's obvious
Because
that
no one cares,
you
that's
don't have to
why, no
call
one
me
cares,
out.
and it
Yeah,
was
but
obvious. You weren't hiding it from anybody, bro.
yeah, I know I wasn't hiding. I was just trying to not. Never mind.
It does.
I, I didn't know, So I was like, if you don't know, you better just keep it to yourself,
Dude, you were talking my ear off the whole time. How could you say that you didn't know me? You were the guy that interacted with everyone at the gym. Like, you would follow everyone around and talk to them. You were like the most social person. That's what got you integrated so fast, is you're super social. So how can you say that, like, you hardly knew me because you
No,
already were like
I
talking.
know I knew you, but I didn't feel that you had the confidence to like do a joke like that, like sneak me to the
Oh,
head
well,
coach. I
there you
was like,
go, man.
I told Adrian immediately, like that fucking guy just fucking told Coach Paul I was banged, and he was laughing his ass off. I was like, don't laugh, bro. That's fucking nasty.
So,
Oh yeah.
I'm actually curious though. Do you think you roll better when you're high?
Mm, no. You think less. That's a good thing. You think less, or you're just doing. You're not thinking. You're doing. But after some point, it just wears off with like all the sweat and all that. It wears off. Like if the class is it's a technique, and then rolling class, that's terrible because sometimes like if the teacher takes too long to explain something, you're just there so and by the time you're rolling, it already wore off. But I remember going to some like only sparring, like only randori sessions high, and it's cool. Midway through the roll, you're already sober. But the first rolls, if you're like a professional pothead like I am, like it just feels natural. You're in the flow state.
So is that the motivation to do it, is to be in kind of this, like, think less, just let the muscle memory take over? Like, why do so many people
Yeah, there's
smoke
there's
before
no
before
there's no
jujitsu, do you think?
motivation. I used to smoke weed before I started jujitsu, so like
I know, but I feel like there are a lot of people that like smoking weed before they train,
yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
understand why. As a guy that
Yeah,
doesn't do that, I'm trying to
yeah,
understand
no.
why.
I would say it's because of that, because you think less and you do more. Because let's say you're doing a math problem high,
Mhm.
and it's a simple math problem. You come up with the same result when you're high than when you're sober. It just takes you longer time to think something. Like when it's mathematical, but when it's physical, you don't have to do any thought process, so you're just moving. And then I think that kind of like separates your thoughts from your muscle memory. I think that just creates like this barrier where like I'm too high to think. I'm just gonna do. I'm
Mhm.
too high to think. I don't want to think. I'm just gonna do.
Is, is there any, like, do you think a lot of people smoke before they train also for, like, physical ailments so that they don't feel, like,
Hmm.
pain so much and stuff?
Well, that would be like after training. That would be
Right.
like an after train. I remember doing like dabs after training with Adrian. Shout out to
Mhm.
Adrian.
Okay.
Um, a dab is like a very concentrated. piece of wax of THC. You know,
Okay.
so they do like this whole chemical process where like they either do different methods, and that's why they have so many different varieties of wax. They extract the THC from the flower, and then it ends up being either wax or a resin or like a dough. It depends,
Mhm.
and then you put that in a glass bong with a torch, and then you just put it there. That will fucking knock you out. That's more medicinal than the actual weed. You really feel your muscles and all that. But people don't really have to smoke to get those benefits nowadays. They just buy CBD and that's it. I like
Okay.
smoking because it relaxes me, but not really like for the medical part. If I would do that, I would just buy THC. But it's mad. Yeah, I mean CBD, but it's mad expensive sometimes too. Like, I remember the roll-on in New York, a roll-on of CBD was like $100. I was like, damn, bro.
Whoa.
But that was
For
like
like
in the store. That
wow.
was like in the store, but they can get pretty expensive.
You
They
gotta
can
get
get
that
pretty.
CBD sponsorship as a jiu-jitsu athlete, bro.
Yeah, 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 bro.
You gotta get the sponsorship. So
My
is
coach
that
is sponsored by a CBD company, Fight
oh,
Back
really?
CBD.
You
Yep,
get those
I
free
told you, bro.
samples.
My funny thing is that he uploads this new product that they're dropping, the CBD bomb, CBD bath bomb, where it's just a bubble bath bomb with CBD. And I tell them, yo, if you get one of these, give it to me. And he's like, oh, so you're gonna drink all the water in the bathtub? And I'm like, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah, I was gonna say the bomb is the stuff that the bomb is like what you see girls like they put
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
But
it
he's just
colors the
making it as a
water
joke
and
because he
stuff.
knows I'm a pothead. He's just making it as a joke, like, oh, you're gonna drink all the water in the bathtub, and I'm like, no, I'm not.
So your current coach, who did he train under?
He got his black belt from Murillo Santana. He trained with the Millados at Unity and at Cicero Costa.
Oh,
So he comes from
wow.
Cicero Costa, and he did Cicero Costa until he was purple, I think. I mean, I don't know his life story, just what I've spoke with him and what I've stalked
Mhm.
out of him, in Instagram. And shout out to Jonas if you ever see that. This, um, but yeah, I started stalking him and like just like I got grabbed his Instagram and went down, and I was like, damn, like brown, world champion purple, world champion blue, world champion. I was like, damn, like this guy is one of those guys, that champion on every fucking
Wow.
belt, and I'm like, damn. He actually went with Musumichi in the finals, and in my opinion, I saw the match, and in my opinion, he won though. He won,
Oh, so
but
it was a ref's decision?
it was a ref decision. Yeah, it was a ref decision because they ended up
Ooh.
tied up, and you know how the refs are. Like, if you don't beat the current champion, like in a way that it's like obvious, then they usually give it
You
to the
gotta be
guy.
Brazilian, bro. Probably
He
wasn't
is Brazilian.
oh, he is Brazilian. Oh, well, then, yeah, in
Yeah,
that
the other
case,
guy
it's
wasn't Brazilian.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, he is Brazilian. He is Brazilian.
Well,
He's a beast. He doesn't do that much berimbolo stuff, but since he trains so much with the Miyaos, there's no use of trying any of that with him.
so he's very much and he has all the counters to the berimbolo.
Yeah, so and he knows how to do him, but his style is more like collar and sleeve. He has
Okay.
these crazy triangles. Crazy. His shed is the triangle, and that's a good thing because I feel my triangle sucks ass, and we've been doing triangle for a week now, and
So
he has like
he plays collar, sleeve, spider or collar, sleeve with the foot on the hip?
anything, collar and sleeve with anything. Like
Anything, okay.
his guard is so very much Miyao. Like he's so stretchy. He's like fucking open like that, and you try to
Oh,
like
so
knee
he's very
slice.
flexible and stuff.
Yeah, he's very flexible, and he'll even when he stretches, he puts his leg behind the head.
Oh, fuck that, man.
And I'm like,
I've like
I'm
you know,
like,
I
how
saw
the
Lachlan like, yeah. Hey, dude, look at you.
maybe if I
Yeah,
was warm, but I was like, what the
yeah,
fuck,
I've
man?
kinda given up, like, right now, I've kinda given up on that idea with playing guard, like, I don't wanna have a guard where I invert that much and have to have that much rely on
Oh no, but
flexibility
he,
that
he
much.
doesn't he doesn't invert that much. He just blocks you with the legs. Like he's just very gummy. He doesn't when you try to stack him, he inverts, but he doesn't he doesn't have an inversion heavy game. He just creates space between your elbow and triangle. And then when you're not worrying about the triangle, he does this really fucked up, crazy, invisible triangle, like no arm triangle, where he holds the lapel, and you think you're passing with the overhook grip, and then grabbing the pants, and you think you're
Mhm.
passing, and then boom, you're in the triangle with no arm, and you're like,
But
yeah,
he's got his hand in there, right?
oh yeah, he's got his like a cross, like a cross
Yeah,
grip,
cross
but
show.
just
Yeah,
this
okay.
one, like the arm, but very sunken deep. Like it's not like he's fishing. It's just this part is you in your carotid, and then you're in a normal triangle with this hand. And we've been doing this technique, um, like a couple of days now, and it's pretty sneaky.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, and he also, and
So
when you're not worrying about that too, he does like this fucking. If you try to stack pass him, and you leave your arms underneath him, he'll just tippy choke you like this and just stretch his legs.
no, really? He can pull
Yeah,
that
and
shit off?
bro, that shit will put you out, bro.
But is he holding the collar with his hands?
Both colors. He just grabs like this in each side, and he puts the legs and stretches like this,
Okay,
crosses the
I've
legs.
seen someone demo that. I've seen someone demo that.
He
Okay.
just crosses the legs and stretches, and then it just taps you out because your blood, bro, your blood goes out immediately. You feel like you're gonna go out by in the second, like because it's both sides. Like it's nasty. It's nasty. Well,
Oh,
I've already got put out twice in this 2 months.
like you went to sleep?
Yeah, twice.
Oh, dude. That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
the first time was at at Jonas's house because they closed the gyms, and they closed the gyms on a Friday, and I'm like, motherfucker, no training Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday midnight, I get an address, I get a message, just an address, nothing else,
There
no
you go.
messages.
Fight Club. The
Yeah,
Jiu-Jitsu Fight
exactly,
Club.
exactly, exactly, exactly. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, to train, don't tell anybody. It's at my house. And I was like, I get there, and he's like, oh, now you're gonna see the real training. And I was like, God damn. So we've been doing like competition rounds with him. This AOJ brown belt that got promoted to black belt just recently, and this other guy that's a purple belt, and the head coach and me. So it's like four people in the match. But it's just you can only do two people at a time. So the rounds would be very intense because somebody stays in the center, and it's like 3 3 minute rounds, or like 4 2 minute rounds, and then then you switch. So if you're in the center, you're dying.
Okay,
And
so
so the
spill the spill the beans, Chihuahua. Of those training rooms that you've been in, the Barcelona one, Marcelo's, and our gym, how would you compare the overall level of the belts? Like the
of the
blue belts
belt.
that like what I'm saying, I don't want to just because you could go to Marcelo's and they're going to be all
But
black belts, so the level is higher there because they're more black belts. I'm talking about
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
comparing purple belts to purple belts, blue to blue, white to white, brown to brown.
But that's the thing because you can't really make an objective comparison because you yourself also evolve. So maybe I remember going to the ATT, the main ATT, as
Hmm. In
and I
Coconut
just got,
Creek.
yeah, in Coconut Creek, and I just got promoted to blue belt, and I remember going there with like other blue belts that would be very good, and I was like, damn, for a second I was like, damn, I don't deserve this fucking blue belt. And then I got put in with a purple belt, and then he smashed the fucking living shit out of me. He was just break dancing on top of me, like fucking riding my back and like putting both of his feet. I was like, what the fuck? And then I was like, yo, is this normal? And then no, it wasn't normal. He was also smashing brown belts and black belts, and I was like, okay. But then I'm pretty sure if I go now there again, that guy wouldn't do that to me because I've been so to compare is really difficult. Um, I would say I don't know. It depends. In Marcelo, it will depend a lot on the time of the day. Like at the morning, you have a 50-50, which like 50% will be hobbyists and 50% will stay on Marcelo's or maybe go grab something to eat and go back out to midday training.
Hmm.
So and then over here, I feel that like I told you, many of the blue belts have this like copycat game of the head coach, where like they'll just do exactly the same style with like less power, like, but
Mhm.
exactly the same things. And I'm like, yeah, that it makes sense. He's had them since white belts. So I don't know. There's always gonna be high level people everywhere.
All right, dude. So spill the beans. Give me your point of view on the 2 arm bars with Jamie. What happened?
Ah. Okay, so I the first one, I remember Jamie. I don't know if Jamie had just come back from the injury. No, no, no. He'd been back for a while now, and it was
This is from
just
his knee injury, right? When he had popped his knee.
yeah, when he himself popped his knee, he injured
The
himself. No, I mean that's the story I heard. Like he was on a heel
Yeah,
hook,
no,
and
no, he
then
rolled the
with
wrong way.
Johnny he rolled the wrong way,
Yeah.
and that's why Coach Paul had a 2 week like defense, concepts. Or
Mhm.
like you don't roll that way, you roll the other way.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. But and the first one was just like at the end of the round, like it was like 20 seconds or something, and I just pull on the and he wasn't tapping, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna pull on the armbar more. And next thing I know, I get to my house, and he's writing a message on Facebook saying how like he should have tapped, and like he's a bad
Oh,
example.
okay, okay, okay. So yeah, so I remember this one because I've put the 2 I've the 2 memories have combined. So I remember seeing this and I remember I don't know if I was rolling or if I was just on the side with Paul, but I remember us both looking and it was like 5 seconds left and his arm was fully extended and we're like, "He needs to tap."
Yeah, yeah, that was
But
the
he
first one. That was the first one. And
and
he's
he
like,
didn't tap, so
yeah, he didn't
he
tap.
like stuck it out,
And then he
but
was like holding his arm at the end, and I was like, but he wasn't pissed. He was just like, oh fuck my arm. And then like a couple of weeks passed, and then he's told me like one of those weeks he's like, oh you fucked up my arm, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, bro. And then I was about to leave, and Coach Paul he literally said that. He's like, Jamie, go get your revenge in Chihuahua. And I'm like, not gonna happen. If anything, I'm just gonna get another armbar. And I remember getting the armbar and just pulling on the armbar. And he tapped immediately, and he's like, "Motherfucker, that was the same arm!" And he just got really pissed. Like he just screamed in my face, like, "Motherfucker, that was the same arm!" And I'm like, "Bro, I'm sorry." Like,
Oh, man. That was funny, man. That was funny.
yeah,
Hopefully, Jamie's arms have recovered at this point.
yeah,
We love you, Jamie, but that was a hilarious story.
yeah.
So, what, are you doing much leg locks?
I'm trying to work on my straight ankle. This guy, the head coach, has a crazy ankle lock game. Well, straight ankle lock.
Does he do, like, the Kyotera version where
Yeah,
you
he does the Kyotera version. He does the cross ankle lock. He does the same food. His leg lock game is crazy. I have my fucking left leg so fucked up because when every time somebody tries to do an inversion on him, he just um toe hold or straight ankle lock or steamer lock or my left foot is so fucked up from like and from that I'm like, damn, I gotta get better at that.
so
So
every
my
time you go berimbolo, he just looks to toe hold the shit out of that one leg.
or he'll just straight ankle lock you or brow or steamer lock you or but he also has the counters. Like you'll see him like you're in better. He's like just maybe he gives up the berimbolo and then he moves and he's on top again. He's just very good. There's this guy from AOJ. He trained like six years with the Mendes. 6 7 years with the Mendes, and so he's like one of those people who are like, "Oh, I'm in side control. Let me try some back row, take like stupid shit, and I lose top position or something." So he'll be just doing like this crazy, back take crazy. And this guy is just like always leg locking him, and it's funny because I'm like, yep. But that's one thing I really want to get better. That's one of my goals this next. I mean, whenever I get the purple belt, my goal is improve as much as I can on straight ankle locks. That's my
Okay.
next. That's my next goal.
When you were rolling with Coach Paul here in Orlando, did he ever like start giggling and making fun of you when you tried to like did you try to invert under him And did he start like making fun of you?
No, I don't remember trying to invert with him. That would be pretty stupid because at that point I was drilling and just trying the techniques with like white belts or
Okay.
Nate and
All right,
Adrian.
you're smart then, because I remember like I've seen like guys that he considered like small enough, and he's like,
I'm just gonna smash you,
yeah,
you know.
that's what he
Yeah,
says.
yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
I'm
I'm
just
just
gonna
gonna
smash you. He's like, he's like, these guys are trying to invert under me. It's like you're stupid. I'm just gonna smash you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't remember trying to invert under him, but I do remember trying to like lapel game him, and it was like the same result, you know. So he would just break your grip and smash it.
He just drop his knee. You gotta do that. You gotta do that. What the Polish worm rider, dude?
Yeah, the
Got it.
Polish Worm Riot, that's a game changer.
Yeah, I still haven't quite started that. Like,
The
I've got a
well, the Polish
competition coming up, so I'm just.
the Polish Worm Rider is actually a very good sweeping position. Like I've seen what this name's Sanji Rivera doing like some drills of that where like you just because you leg lasso the lapel, then you grab it with your opposite leg, and then the leg that's free, you go on the and then you go on the opposite of your opponent's leg towards you grabbing like this reverse de la riva
Mhm.
underhook kind of style, and then it's a very good sweeping position. That's
Sanji Ribeiro's even doing this now.
that was like a while ago. I remember seeing a
Wow.
video saying the title was "Do you even lapela, bro?" The title of the
Wow. I didn't know
and I,
Sanji was doing
yeah,
that stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was like, Sanji Rivera doing this thing. And I remember that was a position that took me a while to understand because it's just very weird how they invert and grab the other leg at the same time. I didn't get it because at that point I already knew the reverse of the worm, but I thought it was the same position as the Polish worm rider, and it isn't. Reverse de la worm is on the outside of the leg, and Polish worm rider is on the inside of the leg.
Where the lapel is wrapping around. Is it wrapping around and is on the inside or wrapping around on the
No, no, no.
outside?
Your arm. The lapel is always wrapping around your opponent's leg, but the way you grab it. So if you grab it from the outside or from the inside, like
If
let's
you're
say
grabbing it
this
on
is
the outside, that's reverse Della worm, right?
yes, that's reverse de la worm, and if you grab it with your opposite leg, that's the normal worm.
Yeah.
And then if you
Okay.
grab it from, let's say this is my leg, if I grab it like this, that's the
Mhm.
Polish worm rider.
Yeah, that's gonna be my next, exploration, I think. I just have to,
Let me turn off the AC over here because I'm cooking.
oh my god.
Not the AC, the heat. It's
The heater?
pretty. Yeah, it's pretty.
Calefacción.
Yeah, it's
So
pretty cold. It's pretty cold these days so in Barcelona.
so, yeah, after I get through this, this tournament in December, then, it's back to trying out new stuff, and I definitely
Nice,
wanna work with the lapel stuff. So, how do you
nice,
find
nice.
like, how do you go about is it just stuff that you find fun and interesting, or do you try to have some logical process behind, like, what elements you wanna practice and what you wanna integrate into your game?
Yeah, it's more like that. I choose one position. I choose just one position and just drill it and get good at that. And then after I feel like I
And what
kind
makes
of
you choose that position in the first place? Just 'cause you think it's cool, you wanna do it, or are you like, "Well, I already do this, so let me learn this other technique."
No, at the beginning with the warm guard was pretty arbitrary. It was
It's just
like, oh,
arbitrary.
let me just try warm guard. But the difficult part is setting it up. So I was like, okay, I already know how to do the warm guard because I know how to do it, but I don't know how to set it up. So next thing was like, okay, so how do I set it up? Okay, do some X guard, do some De La Riva, or just do a butterfly and pop out his lapel with your foot, and then now you start learning how to pry out the lapel, and then after that is just having that quickness of like wrap it around. And then there's this particular drill that I saw from this guy Andris Burnovsky or something like
Yeah,
that.
he's one of the black belts at Legion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. See, he I don't even think he was like a black belt under Keenan. He just happened to connect with Keenan because he was also doing a lot of lapel guard.
I
And
actually saw him at a promotion video with Lloyd Irvin, so he trained at Lloyd Irvin with Keenan.
mm, mm. And then he has this drill where like your opponent is with one knee up, and then you just grab the lapel and invert, grab the other lapel and invert, and that's like
You
what I'm
sent me
kind of.
that video, I know what you're talking about. I actually did that, I practiced that drill a few times earlier on, like,
Which one?
months
The how
ago.
to improve your one guard by 832%?
Yeah, that one. Where he
Yeah,
just
that.
where he's doing the inversion to grab the lapel. It's like, "Oh, so that's interesting. I don't grab the lapel now. I invert and then like the you always were inverting to do the pass off. So you had in one arm,
Yeah, yeah,
then
yeah.
you'd invert,
Exactly,
and then you do the pass
exactly,
off. And then the
exactly.
second part, I don't know if it was that video or the other video you sent me, it was how do you start the invert and get over your opponent's knee so you can really get into a good back take position and
Yeah,
stuff.
yes, exactly. And then after I saw that one, I remember, okay, like this is a drill, then let me try a technique with that. So he also has one where like he's from close guard and he's doing exactly the same thing. And that also combines very well with the setup that I have for the armbar. If I'm in close guard and I pass this half around underneath and I grab the sleeve, that's kind of like a sweeping position. But if the guy pulls up, you can go for the armbar. So then instead of doing that, I'll just grab the lapel, invert without letting my legs go from my opponent's hips. So I will have this like kind of crisscross version of the close guard, and then I'll just do the grab the lapel and then just de-invert. But then when you de-invert, now your knee is above the other person's knee, and you can get the
Mhm.
back.
Yeah. Damn, bro, so much techniques out there. So many techniques, so little time.
Yeah, bro. I feel like you're not getting any younger, and jiu-jitsu is just getting bigger. You know.
So when are you gonna come to Orlando and visit us, bro?
um, I don't know, bro. I don't know. I would like to go at some point. Um, But I don't know. At this time, I'm so broke though. I'm so broke. I'm barely surviving over here. I need to get a job too though. Corona's been hard because I work in the music industry and it's just fucking. It's been hard for us. I
Mhm.
started doing some events in New York and that was good, but they were like completely illegal though. They're like back to the 80s and 90s raves. We were just picking up a spot, setting up the PAs, calling some DJs, and having like liquor, and we had this guy that will sell like space cakes, like happy cookies and all that shit, and pre-rolls, and then we'll have a big like a makeup bar, made up bar with like a fancy bartender and all that. But it was just like if the cops ever caught us selling the booze, which they never did. They only crashed down our parties, but they never investigated too much. That was good for the moment, but then my visa situation got pretty complicated. It was either go back to school or get married or get the fuck out of the country. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to school. I'm gonna do a master's. So I applied to the university. Super complicated, way easier here. So I applied to the university. I had to get like 3 recommendation letters from my teachers, and I was like, oh, okay. So let's see which teacher hates me less, so I can ask him for a recommendation letter. No, I was like, I had some good relationship with some teachers, but like I was always like, talking about it and all that. And the classes were mad small, so for some teachers, I was just like the devil.
Mhm.
And then I was
Doing
like,
your
oh,
thing.
well, let me see which teacher can give me a recommendation letter. I got into the university. I paid a $200 deposit to save my spot. And then when I'm about to um, sign up for the classes, they're like, no, we don't have this class. We have this other class. It looks like you're going to have online. And then you need to have one in-person class to maintain your student status as an international student, but we don't have the classes that you need except one in like this campus, which is 1 hour and a half away from New York, and you have to go there. And I'm like, no, I'm not paying $40,000 to do all of that, plus do like some bullshit courses online. Like, no, 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 no. And by that point, I already had applied to the university here in Barcelona, which is way cheaper, and then classes were in person until not so long ago, which kind of really pissed me off because that was the main reason I started here. I was like, they cut us they from 4 days, they cut us to 2 days, and I was like, seriously, that's bullshit. But whatever.
I mean, that's the same thing happening here. Like Victor's going to UCF and he's paying regular tuition, but everything's online. So it's like he's not even getting the college experience in the sense of being
Damn,
able to go to
Victor's getting
class.
scammed.
Well, everyone's getting
Victor, what are
scammed.
you doing with your money, bro? You should have got to community college first, and then the other 2 years to UCF.
That's exactly what he did.
Oh,
He's
okay.
already on his
Oh,
junior year now.
oh, he's on his junior. That's why he's drinking beer. I was like, is he even over 21?
Oh yeah, he's 21 now. He's
Now I'm fucking with you, Victor.
he's
I remember the first times I started seeing, you and him and Coach Paul drinking beer, and I was like, "Oh, you giving Victor some drinking lessons?"
Eli's the one who's giving the drinking lessons. Eli's getting everybody.
Yeah,
Um
I remember you guys went on a trip to a mountain. You, Coach Paul, and Dennis, and I texted Coach Paul. Did you get Victor's permission slip for the for the trip?
I know. He shows me all those texts. He's like half the time Chihuahua's replying to my like there was like a I think it was Justin was like smashing me where he had me
Oh
like
yes, yes, yes.
in a
I like
choke or
if Coach
something
Paul,
and he was
if
videoed
it's
and you're like send me more of this content. This is high quality content, coach. Keep posting
yeah,
this.
every like I'm always watching you guys' Instagram, especially the American Top Team one. I'm still jealous that I never got a Jedi spotlight. Coach, what happened there? Like,
Oh, there it
no,
is. There
no
it
Jedi
is.
spotlight. I was like, that was like heartbroken. I was like, even that guy Noah got a fucking Jedi spotlight, and I didn't. I was like, damn.
I didn't get a Jedi spotlight.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I got interviewed for, like and a
Oh
part
no,
of what I
I
got
got that
interviewed
too.
for, like, a commercial partially, then I was kinda
Yeah,
like my interview was
yeah,
partially using a commercial, but I never
yeah,
got
yeah.
a
I
Victor
got.
did get a Jedi spotlight, though.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I got that interview too. It's like, what do you like about training jiu-jitsu or something like
Mhm.
that, something like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, but I
Did you
never
do the
got one.
one that was like, "What are your goals for next year?"
Yeah, 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 yeah. I did that
Yeah,
one.
I remember that one. That's good. Well, listen, dude, we've got an hour and a half. Before I let you go, did you have anything you wanted to promote or say? I mean, being a famous guest and all. Like, is there
No, no,
anything
no,
you
no,
wanna
no.
you don't wanna
I
promote your
mean,
Volite BJ or your Volite hashtag, Volite BJJ hashtag or something? Your branding, you gotta have branding, bro.
nah. Well, if anything, I'll just stick with the Chihuahua. They already call me like that over here. I was like, because some
Oh,
guy
yeah, how did
over.
they find out? How did they find out that it was Chihuahua in Barcelona?
Um,
Did you tell them or did they find out somehow?
no, I told one person that's how they used to call me on the other gym, because they were
Uh,
training. He was calling me Marcelino, and
yeah,
I was like, nah, bro, they can only be one Marcelino. Like, no, no,
of
I
course.
don't like. I was like, I
Yeah.
don't like this. Like, I don't like this. Like, I was like, well, I mean, he was like Marcelino, Marcelino. I was like, well, they used to call me Chihuahua in this other gym, but I don't really like that one either. Um, and then and then in some group chat, like, because we created a group chat
You
for
sent me
the.
the group chat. That's why I wanted to know how they found out originally.
Yeah, yeah, and I was like, motherfucker. And that exact
They're
same
like,
time,
"Who's Chi? Who's Chi?"
because my coach, that's how you abbreviate Chihuahua on Brazilian Chu.
Mhm.
And then I was like, because I at some point we to reserve the spots in the gym before they closed, you had to put your name on the list. And some days somebody started putting their names and an animal. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna put my name and a dragon. And so then some days after they call me David Chu, and I was like, why Chu? Because of the Chinese dragon? And I was like, no, because of Chihuahua. And I was like, who the fuck told you that?
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
And then that guy put me out like the other day because I didn't tap, and I was just like, it was like, I remember watching the clock and it was 20 seconds left, and he had me on a head and arm like this, and I was just defending. I put my thumb in, and I was doing this defense that I saw by Adam Bradley from Atos, where like you start shrimping like this, and then you do like this back roll, and you end
Oh,
up
yeah,
in
I saw that. You wrote yeah, yeah, yeah.
you end up in a Kimura position. So I was like walking, 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 walking. And I remember just thinking, okay, I got the position now. I just have to roll back. And then I woke up and he was holding my legs like, yo, David, David. And I'm like, damn, I went out because the
Uh,
last time I went out was in my coach's house. And it's because we have two bells in the timer. We have two bells, a 5 second bell and then the bell. And I
uh-huh.
remember hearing the 5 second bell and saying it's just 5 seconds. And some guy in the corner he says 5 seconds, don't tap. And then I was just out for a second, like I was just out for like I don't remember hearing the second bell. I just remember like. I was like, oh shit.
Oh
And
boy.
my coach asked me, "Did you go out for a second?" And I was like, "I yes, I did." And he was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, I remember seeing you in deep submissions at our gym, and your face would be red, or we wouldn't see your face, and you'd put up your finger. You're like, "Chihuahua's out." You'd be like, "No, no, 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 I'm still
I
good."
love I love doing that because that
No.
kind of like discourages the person to keep fucking squeezing. I did that today. Some guy was trying to take my head off with a guillotine, and I'm like, I'm in the other side. I already like I see that he's going for a guillotine, and I was doing a double leg, and we end up I end up on my knees, like kind of in an over under position, and I see that he's about to close his leg to not let me pass guard, and I just do it like this very smooth hip switch and go into the other side,
Mhm.
and then he's just on the like on the wrong side squeezing the guillotine, and I'm like, okay, it's uncomfortable, but like I'm not gonna tap to this, and he's just like ah, and I'm like.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
I don't remember getting put out. Oh no, yes, I've been put out 3 times. Two in the last 2 months, and then the other one when I was a white belt, because it was just me and my friend on the mat, and then this other friend that he stopped training up. He was very good. He stopped training at blue four stripes. I don't know why. He was very good. He did judo most of his life, and he was like very good with the takedowns. And most of the takedowns I know, like the judo ones, are from him. He was just me, my other friend, and me at the gym, and the other guy's just with his cell phone in the corner. And I remember being on the rear naked, and I think I was like, I'm gonna get out, and then I'm I got put out. Then the person that was on the corner of the mat, he was like, he's out. I don't know, but they told me he was like, he's out, he's out. And then the guy that was holding, he's like, oh fuck, he's out. And then as soon as they let me go, I was like,
So
how it.
do you remember a guy he who would have been a white belt when you were with us? If you guys crossed paths, he might have come after you. His name is Xander, bigger guy. Do you remember this guy?
Sander.
Xander. Maybe he's
You
after your time.
show me a picture of him.
I mean, I don't know how to well, I mean,
Just
I don't wanna
send it.
spend all this time pulling it up. I wanna see I will find a picture. What do they say? "Jamie, pull it up," like Joe Rogan. "Jamie, pull it up." Hang on. Give me 1 sec. I will pull, let's see if I can pull this up.
You guys are having quarantine? No, like restrictions.
Not in the state of Florida. State of Florida is pretty open.
Yeah, I should have stayed in fucking Florida. New
Um,
York was so annoying with that because in
so
New York,
I just sent you a post, but I don't think you'll be able to see it. So let me know if you can see it.
no, no, no. Just take a screenshot of that and send it to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. So, all right. So now let's
But
send you
who
this.
else is training at the gym from all time? Is
So
Armand is still
actually,
a
that's the
purple belt,
thing.
right?
Who?
Armand, he's still a purple belt.
Yeah, yes. Armand is still a purple belt.
Damn.
Armand hasn't been training much at all.
Yeah, I remember that when I started training, I was a white belt. Victor was a white belt, and he was a purple belt.
Yeah. No, the guys that are training are. I mean,
No,
I
I
mean,
don't
there are a lot.
remember. I kind
You
of
don't remember
remember
this?
seeing him on Nogi, but I don't know if it's the same
So he
person.
must have just started when you were there, or he came after. Anyway, he's gotten really good, really fast. He's a
But
blue belt now.
she looks huge. She looks like 90 kilos.
Oh
Like
yeah, he's big, and he's been putting a lot of people to sleep with the clock choke.
oh
Yeah, so that's been his
damn.
thing. He's been putting people to sleep on a clock. And Victor and I are just like, "Damn, bro, you have, like, all our pictures up on your wall, and you just keep knocking them off." Like, he just draws X's through them. He's put a
It's
lot of
they
people to
call
sleep with them.
that's what I call a scalp collector, baby.
Yeah. So, yeah, in terms of how the gym is now, I would say I don't know a percentage, but, I'm just gonna roughly say that of the regulars, the colored belts that were regular when you were there, I would say between 60 and 70% are training again, and then the others are not for various reasons.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then there are just a lot of new faces, a lot of people that started after, because we did have a lockdown in April, end
Yeah,
of
but your
March into
lockdown
April.
was bullshit. I remember seeing the
Oh yeah, and
lockdown
it
and
got reopened, and then people
yeah, yeah,
started
yeah.
trickling
I
back.
wanted to go to Orlando, and they're like, I was like, okay, so I'm gonna go. I was with, with the cell phone ready to buy the tickets. So I was like, okay, so I'm gonna stay at your house, Adrian. And he was like, no. And he was like, yeah, yeah, come over. There's not really much to do, but we can figure something out. We can train or whatever. I'm about to buy the tickets, and then he's like, no, but you know what? My dad is high risk, and you're coming from New York, so I don't really know, like if we could do that, why don't you stay at Nate's house? And then Nate was like, well, but what are we gonna do at my house? We have to go to Adrian's to train, and then if you go to Adrian's, then you can, contaminate the gym with like your high risk. And then and I was like, nah, you know what? Never
Yeah, so there are a lot of new faces, and it's kind of I feel
mind.
bad for a lot of the people that started in like the end of last year because
Why? Because you're teaching fundamentals? I got you
Chihuahuita.
with that
No,
one.
they is because a lot of these people would have gotten their blue belt right around, because promotions
Oh,
right
that
now. So
sucks.
yeah, so promotions is
But you guys did
next
have
weekend.
summer promotions.
We had summer promotions, which
We
was very
didn't.
small.
Like if we would have had summer promotions, the story would be different. I
Yeah,
probably
but
wouldn't. I don't know. Wouldn't have let me go. I don't know. I would have probably stayed.
Eh,
Yeah.
so anyway, next weekend, so not this Saturday, but the following Saturday will be our winter promotions.
Nice.
And there are a lot of people that would have been, I think, eligible for blue belts that just missed, either because they stopped or because the gym was closed and it took them a little time to come back. But
Right.
everyone got kind of delayed, so it's a shame. But it also means the promotion hopefully will be a lot smaller, and anytime there's smaller promotions, it just goes a lot faster. So
Right. 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 I
there's
think.
pros and
I
cons.
think if you're stopping for a while right before a promotion, you shouldn't get promoted right of coming back. And I saw that here, and I saw this here in Spain, and I was like, like I mean, like I don't know. It was weird to me because this is like, oh, some guy just been of like training for like 6 months or 4 months, and then he comes back and then he gets the brown belt or something. And I'm like, I was like, why? Like even the blue belts are smashing this person. Like you should give that
Yeah.
person like 1 or 2 months before he recovers his game, and then promote him.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's good to sometimes when they hold you, you turn out to be a way better belt that you like the belt you are. You turn out to be like this professional sandbagger.
Well, I mean, I've talked to some people that are like, you know, eh, they feel a pressure to defend the belt, and it gets worse as you get higher. It's like I'd much rather be a blue belt because there's no pressure on me to perform. Like if I get tapped by a purple belt, or even if I get tapped by a white belt, who cares? But if I'm like a brown belt and I get tapped by a blue belt, it's like what the fuck, right? I mean, that's what's going on in their mind, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
So
same, same.
there's a weird psychology with all that. So we'll
But I
see.
mean, if you are, let's say you are a purple belt, no stripes, and you stop training for 6 months and you come back, that crazy blue belt that's a competitor will smash the living. Well, I
Mhm.
don't know if it's smash, but will beat you. He will
Mhm.
beat you, and
Yeah.
then that's how jiu-jitsu is, and that's the beauty of it. It's humbling at some point. Like if you take
Yeah.
a break or you get injured and then you come back, you're like, I remember. That happened to me when I got injured. I remember coming back and just feeling like everybody will just smash the living hell out of me, and I'll be like, "Damn, I really need to get back on my cardio." Because I thought it was more like a cardio thing. Like I was just like getting really tired, and I remember laying on the mat like this, and you're like the epitome of the male athlete, and I'm like, "Fuck
Oh,
you,
yeah,
bro."
I remember those days.
Yeah, yeah,
Victor enjoyed making you do that. Victor was like, "Oh, look at Chihuahua." Victor'd be all standing up, walking away. He's like, "Look at Chihuahua over there," and you'd just be like, red face, just
damn.
face
I know
down,
he, I
just
know he, I know he enjoyed that period of time. I know he enjoyed it. You can see it in his face. And then Coach Paul was like,
Well,
"Big
listen,
Fred, go
dude.
with Chihuahua," and I'm like,
Oh,
"Damn."
yeah. Well,
Now
of
I'm
course you're
like,
gonna go to
"Damn,
Chihuahua.
I'm about to get smashed by this guy," you know?
And you couldn't and the thing is you didn't have any excuse because he was your size.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, listen, dude, we've gone almost 2 hours, so I wanna shut things down, but it was great to catch up with you. I'm glad you're
Yeah.
well, and, I hope to see you on the mat soon. Sooner rather than later, whenever that happens, obviously.
I mean,
Probably
on
not
your
this year.
match.
Yeah, hopefully on our mats, but
Why don't you come
it'll be
over here? You like España, tío.
I do, but I mean, I can't nobody's gonna let a US citizen into the country right now. So, we're
Really?
like my understanding is there are a lot of travel restrictions
Right.
for
But Spain
Americans
is,
going to Europe.
yeah. Well, I remember I came from the US and they did, I don't know if it changed now, but in that by the
Mhm.
time I came, they were doing it by risk areas, not by country. So, for example, New York was good, but like Orlando is
Depending on the
bad.
state. Well, what about do you have a student visa, correct?
I am in the process of getting it because I
Oh,
came as a
possible.
tourist.
Oh, you did come as a tourist. Okay,
Because
interesting.
the thing is that the you know the embassy was closed in New York and their appointments weren't until late November, and I had
Mhm.
to get in October. So I called and they're like, no, just go to Spain, enter as a tourist, and then try me your visa when you're there. That's what I'm doing right now.
Gotcha. Cool. Alright,
Yeah,
dude. Well, listen, you be safe, and we'll see you on the mat soon, okay? Peace.
peace, bro.